Kody said that he wanted the Brown families to be a shining example and role model of what functional polygamy looked like. The reality, the Brown family and sister wives have proven to be a shining example of what everybody actually thought polygamy would look like. Hi, I'm James, and this is my take on reality. In this episode, we're going to talk about TLC sister wives, specifically the Brown family and their application of polygamy, why it doesn't work, what's going on, and more importantly, what they could have done to possibly make polygamy work. It's going to be a challenge. Now, before we get started, I would just simply ask that if you get anything from the channel, you find it mildly amusing, or you just want to help a brother out, that you hit the subscribe button down below. It really helps the channel out, it helps me out, and hey, who doesn't want to help a brother out? So give me that HBO special and the subscribe button down below, and leave a take so I can see what you guys are thinking. Thanks. Let's get it. There are a lot of similarities between what I suspect the Brown family had promised a lot of the wives in engaging in polygamy with various shows like Seeking Sister Wives or My Five Wives, when they talk about the recruitment process for the women that they bring in to be sister wives. I imagine that the sales pitch went something like this. If you join our family, you'll always have somebody around. We're going to be a large family. You'll have other women that you can rely on. It's not just you. You're not by yourself. You'll have sisters and people who will be part of your family, and their children will be your children, and your children will be their children. They're going to not just have the benefit of having one mother, but they're going to have the benefit of having multiple mothers. And with all that diversity and all that, those people around, we are going to grow, and it'll be exponential as far as the benefit that you'll receive by joining our family. For instance, you'll always have, with 4, or more to the point, 5 working adults, the 4 wives plus Kody. You would have a financial advantage because with all that extra money coming into the family, we can do a lot more and the dollars can go a lot further. 2, by having people around, there's mental stability. You don't have to feel like you're doing it all by yourself. You can rely on your sister wives, you can rely on your husband, and you guys can all be there for one another. With regard to your spirit and the spirituality, we all share the same faith. So we can all come together and basically we have a congregation right here under one roof. Won't that be great and smashing? And I think that that's pretty much how they summed it up. Now, a fundamental problem that I see with a lot of the polygamists that TLC will run out and say like, hey, this is what polygamy is all about. The way the Browns conduct their relationship is almost as though they're monogamists dressed up like polygamists. And I mean that in the sense that both Kody and the wives talk about how, although they're all married and they're all sister wives, they're all part of one big family, each wife has an individual home. And their time is their time. So for that one day or that one night, when they have time with Kody, they treat it as though they're in a monogamous relationship. It's just them and no other wives' issues or problems can bother or intrude in on that particular wife's time. And Kody has even said as much when he was talking about Christine asking him to look in on her children when she had to work overnight. How by him going down and looking on Christine's children, he's actually interfering with somebody else's time or intruding on somebody else's time. Even though they're supposed to be one big family and they're supposed to be there for each other and they're supposed to help each other. So the very selling point that he would have used to pull Christine and the other wives into this particular relationship setting would be the very argument that he uses later to say, no, well, we don't do that where we really take away from one wife to give to another wife. Each wife has their own individual time, and that's laid in concrete, and it is what it is. It cannot be changed until Kody's ready to change it. Another big problem that I see that nobody really talks about is that TLC and sister wives and all the polygamist marriages and relationships, they always have the same kind of excuse. And I call it an excuse, and I know it's a little cold, but let me explain. They all say that marriages are spiritual and it's the relationship that's important. And the paper doesn't mean anything. In their fantasy world, and to a point, this is the problem with a lot of lies and deception. When you mix in a little bit of truth, it makes the lie go down a lot smoother. If you're married and you have that piece of paper that they say doesn't mean anything, you have certain rights. And everybody pretends like it's not a big deal. Oh, we all are equal. Kody goes out to Coyote Pass, and while he's shucking one of them trees that he's knocking the bark off of, because that seems to be the only thing Kody really does at Coyote Pass, like he's just clearing bark off of trees. But if he goes out and he's clearing bark off the trees and for, God forbid, he gets hurt and he goes to the hospital, and the hospital has a rule that only immediate family can go back to see the patients. And this is the hospital rule. The hospital rule doesn't recognize spiritual marriages. They recognize that legal marriage. So Robin has every opportunity to go back and see Kody. But the other spiritual wives have no chance in going back and seeing him. If, God forbid, it was a situation that was serious enough to where they had to start making medical decisions, knocking this off, knocking that off, whether we try to resuscitate, whether we don't resuscitate, the only person in that equation who gets the choice and gets a voice is Robin, the legal wife, period. Mary, I was with him for 30 plus years. I was here when it started. And you'll be here at the end when Robin makes the decision. A couple things that's funny to me about them saying that the marriage certificates don't mean anything. First thing, if the marriage certificates don't mean anything, why give a marriage and a wedding and a marriage license to one wife? Why not keep them all equal playing? So when he married Robin to adopt her children, after you adopt her children, you put in for divorce for Robin to divorce her, and you maintain the status with the children. Easy peasy. And if paperwork doesn't mean anything, why is your name on all the deeds? Every piece of property that one of the spiritual wives owns, Kody's name appears next to him. So he's a part owner in every piece of property that they own. Here's another little quiet secret. Arizona, Nevada, Utah, those are all community property states, which means that when you purchase a property as husband and wife, whether Robin is sitting in the room or not, whether she puts her name on the deed or not, the fact that she's married to him and the property was acquired during the time when they actually got married, Robin is co-owner in that property. She has just as much right in that property as Kody does. So if Mary bought a house and she put Kody's name on it, it's Kody, Mary, and Robin. If Christine buys a house and she puts Kody's name on it, it's Kody, Christine, Robin. Same thing with Janelle. She buys that house or she builds that house on Coyote Pass. Kody's name appears on the deed. Kody's name is there on the mortgage. Whatever the case may be to build a home, then it's Kody, Janelle, and Robin's house. When we start talking about why people feel betrayed, oh, Kody, I feel betrayed. Well, what about your wives? Your wives might be betraying you, which I don't really think is a betrayal, but they might be betraying Kody in his little understanding of the word because they don't feel secure. There's nothing about Kody's situation that makes me feel secure. I'll watch this show and I'll be biting my nails because I can recognize all the pitfalls that these women are possibly going to fall into by being in this relationship. Like the financial, the legal, all the issues that they have connected to trusting in somebody who has proven himself to be untrustworthy. Now, I bring up all that to say, if they wanted their situation to work, you have to create a synergy or a community within the organization to where everybody is working towards the same goal. A huge resource that's not really talked about is time. There are only 24 hours in a day. You only get to spend so much time with each one of your wives, with each one of your children. And if you divide everybody and you have one wife here, one wife there, one wife there, and one wife there, then when push comes down to shove, you go to spend time with them. You're only getting one day. At 4 wives, you might get a night with Kody maybe once, maybe twice a week at best. So what happens is that creates a division between Kody and his wives. The communication would automatically start to fail and break down just because, as I mentioned before, you would have a situation where who the hell wants to spend the only night that they might see their husband during the course of that week to talk about their problems or issues with the children. Instead, what happens is they try to figure it out on their own. Now, this is like the pinnacle and a huge problem with Kody's entire family. Communication. Communication in his family is horrendous. Kody will have conversations with Mary, he'll have conversations with Janelle, Christine, and they'll be videotaped where they're constantly asking him, what does he think? What should we do? How should we proceed? These are my issues. I need your input. And Kody will always brush it off, and say he doesn't want to talk about it now. He'll have to think about it. He's not ready to move on it, etc., etc., etc. Then it comes down to the last moment where something has to get done. And because something has to get done, the wives have to unilaterally make the decision on what it is they're going to do. And then Kody turns around and says, oh, they never talked to me about it and they decided on their own. I never agreed to that. So they got to live with the consequences of their decisions. For instance, with Janelle moving into that fifth wheel, why is it that Janelle has to go to Kody and surprise him with the fact they're about to lose the house? That should have been something that Kody was aware of. Oh, this is my house. This is my home. How is she going to make this decision about my house, my home? When Christine put her stuff in the garage, this is my house. Oh, but you don't know what's going on in your house. And part of that is because of the time resources that you don't allocate to that home. You have no idea what's happening there because you don't know what's going on there. You all of a sudden get surprised and ambushed with fact. What makes it worse is half the time I firmly believe that the women are actually talking to him about it. So even though he's not there for a lot of the problems, he's there when they try to talk to him about it, but he ignores them and he doesn't pay attention to them. He dismisses them because he doesn't value them. And as a leader, if he calls himself a leader, you have to value your team. How do you lead a team and you don't value anybody? Everybody has to feel like they're special and the job that they're doing is part of the ownership in the team. If they don't feel that ownership in the team and they don't feel like they're a fundamental, crucial, critical part of the team, then they have no loyalty to the team. And if they have no loyalty to the team, then soon they're going to look for a way to leave the team. And that's why his relationships are breaking down the way they are in his marriages. Now, what would be required for these relationships to work? The first thing Kody would have to do is he would have to remove himself from the center of the universe. The best organizations are organizations that are designed to succeed, whether the person who founded the organization is a part of the organization or not. In order for Kody to make this organization a lasting, thriving, strong family organizational unit, he would have to put himself in a position where the family will move forward and succeed even without him. If something were to happen to him, again, God forbid something happened to him. I don't want anything to happen to him. But if something were to happen to him, his family would still stay intact. The way he has his family organized currently, if something were to happen to Kody, that entire family would break apart. And that's because they were never fully a unit. They were never fully a team, and they were never fully a family. They were never integrated into each other. If they're integrated into each other, it's much harder for you to leave an organization if you're fully embedded into that organization. How easy is it for you to leave a job where you feel like whether you show up or you don't show up, the job will function? If you feel like if I don't show up, this job, they will go out of business tomorrow. If I don't come in, you feel a responsibility not only to the job, but you feel a responsibility to your coworkers and the people you work next to and the people that you like. One of the things that people hold out is that when you build a family, you're building a legacy. You're building generations that will last far beyond you. And ideally, that family is technically an organization. As with any organization, you want to protect it and you want to grow it and you want to make sure that it survives and thrives even after you're gone. In Kody's case, because everything for him is selfish and about Kody and Kody's convenience, the organization can't possibly survive beyond him because he's created an organization and a family that is only designed to cater towards him, his needs, and the things that he wants. This includes the children and the wives. And when you have that type of organization, there are too many ways that can unravel and fall apart. It's hard enough for you to find one person who you can relate to and grow with and develop with, but for you to find additional people who not only get along with you and can blend into you, but for you to find several other people who can blend into your partner and your paramour and you guys can form into one organization would be extremely difficult, to say the least. That's my take. I'm James, and this has been my take on reality. And I'm out. 'Cause I've been living